Hey guys, Luck here and welcome to another FIFA 20 ratings predictions video, and today guys, going to be back with Manchester United. This is a bit of an interesting one because as I am a Liverpool fan doing Man United rating predictions, a lot of people think I might be a little bit critical on their ratings, but actually I think I've been pretty kind of fair on them, and I'm interested to see what a lot of you guys think on these ratings, and I'm going to continue to do them for a lot of the other big European clubs as well on the lead up to FIFA 20. I'm hoping to do that anyway, but yeah, also I'm doing United because they have made obviously a few signings during this window, such as like Besic and Harry Maguire, which do feature in this video. Romelu Lukaku, I'm not going to feature in this video because I think he will move to Inter Milan before the transfer window does close on Thursday, and there is always the chance that Paul Pogba could go as well, but I think it's very likely that Lukaku will go because obviously players can still leave even after Thursday. It's just that the Premier League's transfer window to buy players closes on Thursday, but we could still see players going up until August 31st when all the league's transfer windows do close. But we are going to start off with Paul Pogba because I think he will stay. I think if he was to leave to like the likes of Real Madrid, he would have left by now. Real Madrid got their signings in very early on, and there's not been any talk of them getting anyone else in. Despite Real Madrid needing someone like Paul Pogba, it doesn't look like they're going to go for him in this window. So I think he will remain at Manchester United, and I actually think he will get an increase in his rating, going from an 88 to an 89. I actually look at all of his stats actually across the whole of this season, and he's actually played really, really well for them. 42 appearances in domestic competition, so the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, as well as, of course, the Premier League. 14 goals and 9 assists. Struggled a lot under Mourinho at the start of last season, and then once Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did come in, it was that initial period when United just kept winning game after game after game, doing well in the early stages of the Champions League knockout rounds and stuff, that Pogba was just on fire, scoring a lot of awesome goals. 14 goals in 42 games from a central midfield position is actually a really, really good return, as well as 9 assists, and as a result of that, I will increase his passing, shooting, and dribbling a little bit. Also, he was only one of 2 players to make it into the Premier League team of the season. Yes, he didn't get into FIFA's team season. That is completely separate. That was obviously, I believe, done by voting the Premier League one. I can't exactly remember, but it's not done the same as how the official Premier League one is done, and he did make it into that, or he made it into the players' writing, or something like that. He did make it into a certain Premier League team of the season, I believe, also along with Eden Hazard, and when you look at the stats, he actually did kind of deserve to get in. Obviously, Hazard and Pogba were the only 2 players that weren't Liverpool or Man City players who obviously did dominate the league last season. But Paul Pogba going with a little increase to the 89 rating, and then moving along to the second player, it is going to be David De Gea. He has to get a decrease. 38 games last season in the Premier League, in all competitions, and 7 clean sheets. No, 38 games. I believe he played every single Premier League game. I don't know if he actually played any FA Cup or Carabao Cup games because weirdly I actually couldn't find it out. Some of the stats are a bit weird. But in the Premier League, he got 7 clean sheets. 9 goalkeepers last season in the Premier League played the whole 38 games. David De Gea got the second worst clean sheets out of the lot of them. The only goalkeeper that did actually worse was Fabianski of West Ham. He got 6 clean sheets. But the fact that David De Gea, out of 9 goalkeepers, there's 7 other goalkeepers that either got an equal or better amount of clean sheets in the Premier League, and that's just not acceptable. Yes, Manchester United's defence last season simply wasn't good enough, but also David De Gea made a lot of mistakes that we weren't used to seeing from previous months from him. Yes, I still think he's a top goalkeeper. Is he the best in the world? No, I'd say Alisson and Oblak are probably slightly better than him at the moment. I think he's still definitely up there in the top 5 best goalkeepers in the world, but certainly last season, no one can argue he was just well off the mark from where he needed to be. Obviously, he's still a fantastic goalkeeper, don't get me wrong, but I think he will see a decrease in rating, diving, positioning. A lot of his positioning from goalkeeper positions last season was just so poor, as well as his diving and reflexes as well. Just a little general decrease on the card, nothing too serious, but he has to be decreased, there's no question about it. 7 clean sheets in 38 games for a club like Manchester United simply isn't acceptable whatsoever. He should be getting a minimum of probably 15, something like that, really, or at least 10, but yeah, 7 just nowhere near good enough. But the next player is going to be the new signing, Harry Maguire, 83 rated, so I'm going to give him an increase of a 1 overall rating. 31 appearances last season, 3 goals, 0 assists, which is fine for a central defender because they very typically rarely get any assists, but yeah, I go with his pace to be up a little bit. I think he only had 47 pace. Arguably, really, his pace should be even higher than 49. It might actually go into the mid-50s, because typically when a big player moves to a massive club like Manchester United, often what EA tend to do is just give them a lot better stats. So, for example, next season, with the likes of Wan-Bissaka, the likes of Pulisic, João Felix, players that never typically had the best gold cards in the last FIFA are going to have some amazing stats this FIFA. So to be quite honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Maguire is potentially even 84 rated, or even more better stats like in the mid-50s for pace or something like that. EA just typically seem to do that. Whether he'll get a one to watch remains to be seen, but yeah, also going with his passing to go up by a little bit as well, and also his defending, because he is now officially the world's most expensive defender, overtaking Van Dijk. So just purely because of that, EA will just increase his defending purely on the fact that he's supposed to be technically, in a sense, the best defender in the world, judging by how much is being paid for him. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how he does do. I think United are going to be a lot better next season, definitely. But still, I don't think they'll get top 4. I think they'll be better than Chelsea for top 5, but I just can't see them being better than Spurs or Arsenal next season with how good their squads look. But anyway, the next player is going to be Marcus Rashford. Good player, very good player, very, very talented, still really young. I think he's only 20, 21 or something like that. 37 games in all appearances last season, 11 goals, 6 assists, very decent for his age. Obviously, as he gets older, he's going to have to get better stats than that, and I think he certainly will do. But again, nice little increase for him, going from an 82 to an 83 rated, getting that shooting up a little bit, because for his age, 11 goals in 37 games is a good return. Also, his passing, physical, dribbling, again, a nice little general boost to the card. And obviously, if Lukaku does go, which I think he will do, will Man United bring someone in? Obviously, they try and see if they could bring in Bala, but because of wage issues, that hasn't happened. That deal's off. But I think Lukaku will go to Inter Milan. Maybe not before the start of the season. Maybe once the season has already commenced. Obviously, players can still be sold until August the 31st in the Premier League. But I think United, for goals-wise, should still be okay with Rashford. I think if Lukaku does leave, he will take a step up. I think, yeah, there might be a little bit of pressure on him, but Rashford's someone that can actually really, really cope well under pressure. And from an England fan perspective, I kind of want to see him do well, but from Man United, I actually really want him to do shit next season, because I can't stand United, obviously, but yeah, he is a talented player, and certainly for the England team, I want him to do better because I prefer him to Harry Kane in a sense. So yeah, the next player is going to be Nemanja Matic. 31 games last season, 1 goal, 0 assists. Even for the defensive position he's playing in, that's not a good record at all. He needs to be going with at least maybe a couple more goals and a few assists as well. His shooting, pace, dribbling will be decreased. Obviously, Matic is getting older now, so his pace will just be decreased, because EA always tends to do that with how players get older and how paces just decrease. So that's definitely going to happen to Matic. So yeah, definitely once again an increase to him, going down to an 85. Next player is going to be Eric Bailly. 13 games last season, 0 goals, 0 assists. The problem, he got an inform early on in FIFA 19, but picked up an injury, and I think he's still injured now. And once again, although he's done nothing wrong, and I think he's actually a really good defender, when someone gets injured, EA will tend to always just, and if someone's not played that many games in the previous season, EA just tends to knock their rating down. So he could potentially hold an 82 rating, but he certainly won't increase. He's either going to have an 82 or an 81. I don't think he'll go down to an 80, but yeah, as I said, he's actually a really good defender and should start with Maguire once he is fit, but I don't think he's going to be fit for the start of the season. But he's a very good defender. Came from Villarreal or Espanyol, where he was very promising as well, but yeah, I think we overall will see a slight little decrease for him. Obviously, when someone gets injured, EA as well tend to try and just take down the pace, because obviously sometimes when a player comes back from an injury, they sometimes lose pace. Michael Owen was a prime example, obviously, of that. After his injuries, he just lost so much pace, and that could maybe be an issue for Eric Bailly as well. But the next player is going to be Fred. I can't take that name seriously. 19 games apparently last season. I think he actually might have played more than that. 2 goals, 1 assist. I've took him down to an 81 from an 82 rating. Came for like 50 million or something from Shakhtar Donetsk, and I've watched him, and I think he's dreadful. Actually, I've heard a lot of United fans say that he actually is okay, but I'm sure if you ask a United fan, they probably would have rather kept Ander Herrera and rather sold Fred for the most part. So I don't think he's very good. I think he'll leave at the end of the season, or maybe even in the January window. They've got to keep him right now, though, because they don't really have any other midfielders apart from Paul Pogba and stuff like that central wise. So yeah, they got to, and Nemanja Matic as well. But yeah, I think we'll definitely see a decrease to him. Next player is going to be Anthony Martial. I actually have decided to keep him at the 84 rating. Did get a boost in the January upgrades. I believe he went from an 83 to an 84. Actually, a very promising player. I think he will continue to have a very good season this year. 30 games last season, 11 goals, 2 assists. He's got to get more assists this season. It's very important for the position that he plays in that he gets more assists. I think he will continue to start ahead of Alexis Sanchez, who could maybe still move. United need to sell Alexis Sanchez as soon as possible. They're not going to get too much back for him, but they need to sell him because his confidence has just completely gone in front of goal and everything, and him and United need that move to happen to get him out the club, really. But 11 goals though from his position for Martial last season is a very good return, so I have gone with shooting and pace to be slightly upgraded. You could arguably say that maybe his shooting deserves to go up, but maybe 2 or even 3, but I think overall, for the most part, he will keep the 84 rated card because United didn't have a lot of success as a team last year, which sometimes also contributes to getting a higher rating. And also, it's a decent individual stat, 13 goal contributions in 13 games, but I don't think it's enough to warrant him going up to an 85 rated card, although it could happen potentially. But he is definitely at least going to be able to keep that 84 rating. The next player is actually going to be Alexis Sanchez as well. I have gone from him going down from an 86, or was it an 85? I think it was from an 86. 23 games last season, 2 goals, 4 assists. Just not good enough, really. And I think we will see his pace go down a little bit more as his age does go on. 2 goals for his position in 23 games. You've got to give it a decrease on his shooting. The assist is actually too bad. 4 assists in 23 games is okay, but again, it needs to be higher, really, ideally. And again, I've just gone really with like a general downgrade to him. He is obviously struggling and stuff. Since he came to United, he's never really hit off. He had one, I think he played in the FA Cup final once and scored in the final against Palace or something, and had a decent game then, but for the most part, it just hasn't worked out for him at Manchester United, and I think we will see a decrease on his card for next FIFA. And the next one's going to be Juan Mata. Actually, I look at these assists and his durable stats. In my opinion, almost deserves to keep an 83 rating, but again, because of age, I think EA will just take a hit on his rating. Again, pace, physical, dribbling going down slightly. 26 games, 5 goals, 2 assists. Not the worst return, but I can just see because of purely how old he's starting to get now, we'll just give him a decrease. But I think he at least deserves to keep an 82 rating because I think for his age, he's still playing pretty well. Will it be his last season at Man United? Probably yes, it will be. But yeah, I hope he goes into a central position. I hate Juan Mata as like a central card in FIFA could actually be pretty fun. Just having him on the right hand side, just such a waste. I wish EA would just move him to a cam or a centre midfielder, but I don't think they're going to do that, sadly. But the next player and the penultimate player is going to be Luke Shaw. 32 games last season, 1 goal, 5 assists. Had so many injury problems over his career. I remember in FIFA 14 when he had the silver team of the season card at Southampton, I want to say, and it was mad expensive, but a lot of people were raving on the guy. Then he went to Manchester United, started off relatively well, and then just had injury after injury after injury. Thankfully, well, if you're a United fan anyway, thankfully last season he was able to actually pretty much stay the whole season injury-free. I think I'm fine in saying that, obviously evidenced in the 32 games that he did play, and I think does deserve a nice little increase, going from a 78 to an 80. He was actually one of the better players, I think, for United last season, with obviously 5 assists in 32 games. That's a decent return. Get that passing up a little bit, dribbling, defending in pace. I think he could, again, have another good season. I think definitely for left-back, United don't really need another player apart from Luke Shaw, because he's still good when it comes to age-wise and stuff, so I think United can see, I think he's definitely been able to kind of consolidate that position over the likes of Ashley Young and stuff like that. But the final player is going to be the £50 million signing Wan Bissaka. 35 games for Crystal Palace last season, no goals, 3 assists, and I've gone from him having a 76 rated card to a 79. Once again, because of his price tag of 50 million, there's no way EA are going to give him a bad upgrade. They're going to give him a decent upgrade, and arguably he could maybe even get an 80 or an 81 rated card purely because of how expensive he went for in the real transfer market. That's going to determine a lot about his rating. I think his passing has got to go up considerably. I think his pace will slightly go up as well. I think he's going to be a pretty awesome card, and also he's a guaranteed one to watch in FIFA 20 as well. So who knows, maybe I might get him in that guaranteed ones to watch pack with the Ultimate Edition when we open that on September 19th on my YouTube channel. Who knows, we could have him as my main right back for the new FIFA 20 game. But that's going to finish up the ratings though for this video, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. I'm hoping to do Atletico Madrid next, but I'll wait and see. Maybe I might do another one, I'm not too sure yet. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.